I sometimes daydream about how I might spend a day if I had no other responsibilities. I wonder if you have a similar daydream. If there were no washing to be done, nothing to clean or tidy, no work looming over you or garden to sort out, if there were no other people to compromise with, when you could do anything you want, I wonder what you'd do. I used to imagine that this is what retirement is like, but the more time I spend with retired people, the more I begin to suspect that they are even busier than I am. I wonder what you would do though. In my daydream, I sleep in for most of the morning, and then when eventually I get out of bed, I spend most of the rest of the day playing video games without interruption and eating takeaway. This is what I think I would like to do with a day to myself. It's what I think I'd like to do, but deep down, I really do know that this would be far from the best day of my life. I know that the reality is that if I spent a whole day when I didn't go outside, when I didn't interact with other people, it would be a day that would leave me feeling low and tired. As much as the idea of sitting down and gaming all day appeals, it wouldn't be good for me and I wouldn't really enjoy it. As much as the idea of a long lie-in sounds nice, I think I'd feel like I'd wasted my day if I spent hours of it in bed. Maybe the day that you imagine is a bit better for you than mine would be for me. But here is the truth. Often the things that we think we want are not very good for us. The things we strive towards are not the things that deep down we need. The things we would choose to do if it were just up to us are not the things that would bring us most joy. The Sermon on the Mount is a famous bit of teaching in Matthew's Gospel in the Bible. And there Jesus gives us all sorts of really difficult instructions about how we should live. Things that maybe we wouldn't choose to do if it were just up to us. He tells us to love our enemies, to go out of our way for the good of people who seek to harm us. He tells us to avoid even thoughts of anger and lust, let alone acting upon them. And in the midst of these instructions, there is this passage about not worrying. A passage that reminds us that God cares for his people, knows our needs, provides for each one of us. There is a challenge here. I could spend my time doing what I think is best, but we've already determined that doing whatever I want doesn't necessarily have the best outcomes. I could spend my time being concerned about myself, making sure that everything was in place for tomorrow or the next day and every day after that. But followers of Jesus are called to something different. Our Lord knows us. He knows our needs and desires better than we do. He knows what is good for us and what is not far better than we do. And part of what is best for all of us is those difficult things. Loving our enemies, going the extra mile, not indulging negative thoughts. Last Sunday in church, we were thinking about obeying Jesus because he deserves it. He is the creator and sustainer of all things. He is the rightful Lord, and so we should obey. But in addition to the should, the truth is that obedience to Jesus is also quite simply the best way for us to live. It is what is best for us. It is what will bring the deepest, most abiding joy. Even if it seems hard, even if it's not what we would have planned for ourselves. Being a follower of Jesus means being obedient. That's just how it works. It's his way and not our way. But ultimately, his ways, his plans for us are better than what we were planned for ourselves anyway. I wonder what your day might look like if you spent the whole thing in obedience to Jesus. I wonder what your week might look like, or your year. I wonder how your life might change if the whole of it was lived in obedience to him.